Roger Severino, the former director of the Office of Civil Rights at Health and Human Services under Donald Trump, told a group of more than 2,000 high school and college kids at the Students for Life annual conference Saturday that they can win the abortion fight by having tons of babies. So let's pull up this picture that he posted on Twitter. About to go on stage to encourage and be encouraged by 2,000 Students for Life. So Jezebel reported on this and got some quotes from him where he said, "You have to do your part, get married and have kids, lots of them. Students who support abortion rights," Severino added, "are at a natural disadvantage because they, quote, don't reproduce." So this guy went to a room full of children, told them to have sex and have kids, and then claimed erroneously that people who get abortions don't have children. Of course, not a shock to any of us that he is a liar. According to a 2021 New York Times study, most women who get an abortion actually already have children. The typical patient, in addition to having children, is poor, is unmarried, and in her late 20s, has some college education, and is very early in pregnancy. So political reporter Alice Ollstein posted updates from the Washington, D.C. conference on Twitter Saturday. Let's take a look at some of the things she said there. The first post from her: about 2K anti-abortion student activists are going to vote at their annual conference today on their preferred 2024 candidate and what kind of abortion ban they want to see them endorse. So here's the straw poll that they were given. Some of the options on there for President: Trump, DeSantis, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, Tim Scott, Glenn Youngkin, Greg Abbott, Larry Hogan, Ted Cruz, and Liz Cheney, and Kristi Noem. I got a feeling Liz Cheney did not win that straw poll. She also posted this update: DeSantis is the winner, with Trump a distant second. And over 94% of the students said they want a candidate to push for a ban on abortion at conception, not any point later in pregnancy. So I got one more tweet from her here. One leader at this conference just joked in a speech that they might be responsible for a diaper shortage because all of the babies of people unable to get abortions after the Supreme Court ruled last June will soon be born. I love the idea that you are fantasizing about a world where people are forced to have children and then don't have the ability to get resources to care for those children. Okay, a lot to unpack here, Dan, wherever you want to start.
I mean, that's really a good place to start because that's really the game here, is that once they talk about protecting kids and they talk about they're saving people, like they're saving kids, these unborn babies. But at the end of the day, let's not even talk about that if that kid is born like a person of color in this country, right? Let's just like put that aside. Let's just put this as far as like class goes. If they're born into a family where they're unable to get access to diapers, let's say, or let's say like everything else is happening, the cost of diapers and baby food and all these other different things to take care of a kid goes up, and they're not able to handle that, then that child has to suffer in poverty and like all the family, like their external like matters that happen in this, which is why we refer to these things as family planning. And so you get into how they want to cut programs, like they want to cut eligibility for SNAP and food benefits in other like states. You have so many different cases where Republicans don't really care about babies after they're born. There's no care about pre-K or no funding for those kind of things. There's no care about public school education or any after school programs like that. We're gutting all these different things. Cut Medicaid, cut programs that give healthcare for people. At the end of the day, it just seems like this is a theological issue. This is a religious fundamental issue for them that is not at all about caring for babies, because the moment the baby is born, the baby better be rich, or the baby better have an idea for a small business and be able to fill out a small business loan or take one out from their family of $250,000 and get to hustling right when they start to get into crawling, because that's the American dream right there.
Yeah, the baby better pull itself up by its tiny little bootstraps, because otherwise we're not going to do anything for that baby. Okay, you made really good points there, but we absolutely have to talk about the fact that he stood up in front of a room full of children and told them that they need to have lots of sex, because I can't let that go by. We got to talk about that. What is that?
If it's all possible to go back to that photo itself of Roger Severino where he's like got that face, it's just like, I can't imagine how you wake up in the morning and talk to people, hey kids, like skateboard over your like hoodie, like whatnot. Today I'm gonna talk to you about screwing. And like it's also not good advice, because again, like I am totally fine with people having families as long as you are ready. And that means, emotionally and psychologically, as the child of a kid who has had to get a lot of therapy, that's definitely an important thing, but also economically and all these other different factors that make it so kids can live as happy and healthy as a life you can in the wild, wild world of the United States of America. And so you need to pair that information. Otherwise, it's just theological crap.
Yeah. I mean, you're so right about the picture of him. Like, it's just, can we pull it up just one more time? Like, if this guy is giving a presentation in front of children, and you know that this is the same kind of person who says that gay people are groomers for being gay in the world, for existing as a gay person, any gay person in media is grooming children, and then this guy walks out on stage to tell kids that they need to breed. Like, I mean, come on, it's so ridiculous. But to the women who are a part of these groups, I will say, from the looks of the audience in that picture, it looks like it's predominantly men. But to the women, don't they feel like, I don't know, a little bit grossed out by the fact that they are seen by people like him or by the organization more broadly as just baby makers? I mean, he's essentially saying that you just need to use, your life on this earth to push out a bunch of children, regardless of how it might affect your health. I mean, having a baby it seriously affects your body for the rest of your life. Having a lot of children, only further, and if that's what you choose to do with your life, God bless you. I wish you the best. But it is a very difficult process. And I also feel bad for the students in there who might eventually get married and decide that they want to have kids and have a hard time having kids, because for a lot of people, the ability to, have a child for whatever reason, it can be really difficult. It can be, they might have issues with their pregnancy, and then they'll feel like they're, worth less because they're not able to deliver on this mission that they promised this disgusting looking man at this conference. I mean, I'm torn because I don't really feel that bad for them, because they're supporting something that, is so wholly evil in my opinion. But I mean, they're also younger, so I feel like I'm a little more likely to give them a little slack.
Yeah, a lot of these kids grow up in these spaces, and I hope, some of them have to have these like, wait a minute, how did I get here moments? When you have people like this who are saying, like, giving you, it's not really giving you advice, it's just reinforcing what these people who are in this room have been told for all their lives. And I just hope that they understand that, like, from religion, and this is coming from someone who's largely agnostic, like if you grew up religious and religion is something that's important in your life, like cool, take the things that are helpful individually to you, but like, treat it as advice. When you take it so much as like a lifestyle and the way you live, you could run that into reality where you realize that the religious fundamentalists who say they have your back politically don't really care about your kids unless you're rich. And if you are rich, you're gonna be spending a lot of money on that kid, because we fundamentally live in a society that doesn't value taking care of kids, unless it's, theoretically in the abortion sort of context to rile up people for votes.